This video just quickly goes through some 11 plus kind of questions that come up a lot in the exams. So the first one is, what do the twins resemble? So there are some key words in there. Firstly we have what, and then we have the twins, and we have resemble. So most people know what means. It just means, can you tell us something in there to do with the twins? And this is the key word that tells us what we want to do with the twins. Resemble just means, what are they similar to? So similar to. So you've got to search the passage for what the twins are similar to. So the first thing you should do in the passage is find the bit that talks about the twins, and find the bit that compares them to something. So it could be that they're smaller, bigger, smarter, that they're just average size compared to big size. That could be something they resemble, or maybe they resemble an animal. They could resemble a spider or a fox, something like that. This also could be to do with similes, so it could be that they're saying they were as cunning as a fox, okay? And that's a simile because we're comparing them to another thing and using as in that to compare them. Okay, so the next type is give evidence. So evidence is a really key word in this one, and evidence always means you have to use something from what you've read in the text, which means you've got to use maybe a quote from the text. Now, a quote just means you're going to put your quote in speech marks, okay? So remember, you've got to use speech marks if you're quoting, but if you're just giving like one word from it, maybe you can get away without using speech marks. Okay, so the rest of this sentence says, give evidence for what the character is feeling during the party. So the first thing you should do is look up the party. So it might be a whole paragraph about the party. It might be that the whole text is about the party. If the whole text is about the party, then obviously you can't just find a paragraph. You have to read the whole thing. But to make it easier for yourselves, you should look up the bit that is talking about how the character is feeling. So look for feeling words and look for the main character's name. Okay, that's the best way to do that. The next one says, describe in your own words how the protagonist treats his followers. So there are a few things we should remember about this. It says in your own words. That's the first thing, okay? So if you did use speech marks and you thought that was okay, you were wrong. You should use your own words. So that means, sure, you can find what they say about what the protagonist says about his followers, but you have to change the way it's said, use your own vocabulary. The next thing is that you might not know what protagonist means. So if you want to guess what a protagonist is, you need to find who has followers. So which character in the story has people following him around, or which character is a leader. That would give you what a protagonist is, and the protagonist is just the good guy in the story. So you can remember that for your exams as well. Describe means you give your own words and you try to tell us how the character is. The next one is, what does the sheep crook imply about Alex's profession? So we need to look at imply. Imply should be a word that you're getting familiar with as you prepare for your exams, especially if you're doing the 11 plus. So the next word that you might be confused about is profession. So profession means job, okay? Imply means hint at, okay? So what does it hint at about his job? So it might not tell us exactly what the job is, but it might hint at it, and it hints at it in this by telling us there's a sheep crook. So who looks after sheep? A shepherd. Okay, so that's your big clue, and there is your answer. Now the next one is give 3 similes from the passage. This just says give, which means simply just write it on a piece of paper as fast as you can in your exam, which means you have to find the similes first. So you could have something like a ... or as tall as strong as smart as anything like that. Those are the 2 common types of similes we have. So remember them. It'll be like a, or as tall as, or as something as. The other one is name the 3 types of leather ornaments that were functional. So this is name. It's just the same as give above. So give should be the same as name. You just have to write them down in the exam. Okay. So this is saying name the 3 types of leather ornaments. So I mean, the first thing you should do is find what is leather. When do they talk about leather in the story? And what are the leather ornaments? So ornaments are things that are decorations, okay? Or things that you'd have around the house maybe. And functional is the other key word. Functional means they don't just sit there looking pretty, they actually do a job. So maybe an ornament wouldn't do a job necessarily, but if it was functional, maybe it could also be a purse, maybe it could also be a bag, maybe it could also be an umbrella. Something that could be used for something is functional. Hopefully that helps you with a few question types that come up and confuse people in exams like the 11+.